Currently, most of our clients are expatriates. We have from Asia and Western Africa, but we also supply snail meat to high-end restaurants in Upper Hill and Westlands in Nairobi. But we also have Kenyans. Some of the Kenyans usually consume snails.
How much do you sell 1 kg of snail meat?
So a kg goes at, for the meat, goes at 2,500.
That's 2,500.
2,500.
How much does it cost you to produce that 1 kg of?
So in producing a kg, we'll use around 500 shillings.
Which means the margins are very good. They are
The
very
margins,
minimal.
very minimal inputs for snail farming.
So what do you feed the snails?
So the snail can eat up to 5 different types of plants. So whether be it the skuma wiki, we have cabbages, lettuces, we have potatoes, and also you can feed your snails the fruits. And also we have the kitchen remains. But for the kitchen remains, what you will do, you will have to rinse a bit because of the salt. Yeah. So my name is Ephraim and I'm the founder of Kono Farm Enterprise, which is based in Nairobi. And what we do at Kono Farm, we do heliciculture or snail farming. We rear edible snails as a solution to food insecurity and malnutrition.
So this is something you're doing commercially?
So this is what I'm doing commercially, and right now it's been 3 years since we started the project.
Is this your full-time job?
Yeah, this is my full-time job. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means it can be a sustainable source of earning a living.
It's very sustainable. It's very sustainable. Yeah.
How long have you done this?
I started the initiative in I think it was around 2021 January. So I think it's around 3 years since we started.
So how did you learn about this?
So first of all, currently 20% of Kenyans are facing malnutrition, and lack of protein is the major cause of that. So we saw this as an alternative source of protein that we can introduce. So I once visited a snail farm and saw how they were doing these kind of practice. So from there I was interested and got a passion of this one, because another thing I saw is that with snails it does not require a lot of time. Yeah.
Where was this snail farm that you visited and then you saw and you got this idea?
It was just here in Nairobi, but it was a bigger snail farm, a special farm. So okay. When I went there, I got interested, and that's when I acquired training somewhere, did some online research. Then from there onwards, I started my snail farm, got some breeder stock. Then we now started farming the snails.
At what point after you'd already started did you realize that this is something you can do? When you are starting out, did you know that this would be like an income generating venture that could sustain you, or is it something you discovered halfway once you had already started?
Okay, I knew it will at some point be an income generating activity, but when I started, I even didn't have market for the snails. And I also knew, because I visited the farm, so I saw the demand. Even the farm couldn't meet the demand at that time. So from there, henceforth, we started our own farm.
What is the market like for snail, and what are the snail products that the market currently consumes?
So currently, the products that we've introduced, we have we have the creams, the body creams, and the face creams. The second ones, we have the lotions, and we also have the beauty soap. But the demand is very high and people are still demanding for more. So we want to also introduce more skincare products like the serums, face masks, and also some moisturizers. So the demand is very high. So those are some for as you can see here, we have Kono cream. This one is made purely from the snail slime and a bit of castor oil and avocado oil. Yeah.
So what is this for? Or how do you use this?
So this one is for the skin. It has a lot of benefits. It has anti-aging properties. As you can see, we have it moisturizes the skin for a smoother skin, for skin repair. It really has a lot of benefits.
So somebody can buy this from you?
Yeah, you usually sell
for personal use.
Yeah, we usually sell.
How much do you sell this for?
So we have different grams, like this one is 100 grams, this one is 300 Kenya shillings.
Okay.
So we also have 250 grams which goes at 650, 350 grams goes at 800 shillings, and for the beauty soaps a piece goes at 600 shillings. And also for the lotions, we have lotions, this one goes at 300 Kenya shillings. This one is
same ingredients?
Yeah, for the slime, we have the same ingredients, but the texture is a bit different.
The composition of the slime is
and
probably
also
higher.
the oils that we use, it's kind of different because we have some clients who have different types of skins.
Okay.
We have some that have oily skins and others have dry skins.
So can a customer order specific ingredients, like a special formulation?
We make the products also according to customer preference.
Okay, so somebody can order
a specific
formulation.
Yeah.
So currently, what is the biggest product you're selling from snails?
So as I mentioned, the demand for the snail is very high.
Okay.
So we are tackling this issue by
So when you say the demand for the snails, you're talking about snail meat or the slime?
Both the snails, the snail meat, everything is on demand from the snail meat.
But currently, what are you selling? What are you selling the most of?
I think the snails. The snail
itself
for consumption, yeah.
Also the snail meat.
Yeah, the snail meat.
Okay.
It like even currently. So how we are tackling this problem? We are trying to engage other farmers. We are training them, enabling them to start their own farms. Then after they start, we now link them with the market for the snail meat and the slime. Because for us currently, since we've introduced our products, we ain't selling the slime. So we are connecting the farmers to the market for the snail slime.
The snail slime, okay.
Yeah.
So how do you sell the snail meat?
So we usually sell in cages, but it usually depends with the customers because we have some customers who prefer the snails when they are alive. Others prefer the frozen. So the frozen ones, we usually extract the snail from the shell. So it has to be separated from the shell. It has to be washed well. Then they will be packed in we usually use the zip bags. So it differs. And also others prefer the value-added one, maybe the dried snails, solar dried or the sun dried. Yeah.
Okay. And most of the market, who are most of your clients? Are they individuals who want to go cook at home, or is it restaurants, or so who's majority of the clients?
Okay, currently most of our clients are expatriates. We have from Asia and Western Africa. But we also supply snail meat to high-end restaurants in Upper Hill and Westlands in Nairobi. But we also have Kenyans. Some of the Kenyans usually consume snails, but currently we are doing B2C. So most of our clients usually purchase the snails for
own personal consumption.
For personal consumption, yeah.
How much do you sell per kg?
So for the alive ones, we usually sell at 2,500, 2,500 Kenya shillings, but at minimum of 2,000 shillings. But for the meat, only the meat, we usually sell at a minimum of 3,000 Kenya shillings.
So that's when it's been extracted from the shell?
Extracted from the shell, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So the one for 2,500 is when you take it live as it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Still alive or?
Still alive, just still alive. Yeah, and for the slime, we usually harvest the slime and sell in liters. For a liter goes at 1,300, but currently we ain't selling the slime, so we are connecting other farmers to the market for the slime.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing the slime you supply to the cosmetic manufacturers.
Yeah.
There's not individuals buying.
Yeah. We have cosmetic industry.
So what do you need to start snail farming in Kenya?
So snail farming does not require a lot of capital because first of all you do not need like a lot of space. Even as you can see the boxes that we are here, this box can hold up to 20 kilograms. So it is something that can be done whether be it in the balconies or on the rooftops. It is something that can be done anywhere. So you do not need a lot of capital.
How long does it take for the snails to mature, to reach the harvesting weight?
So it takes 6 to 7 months to be harvested, but you can harvest it earlier depending on how you feed them, because at the harvesting time individual snail has to weigh 140 grams and above. So when you feed it well, before even the 6th month, it will have reached the 140 grams, so you can harvest the snail. Again, for the feeds, we have the formulated feeds that helps the snail boost gaining weight.
Gaining weight, okay.
Yeah.
So if you want them to gain weight faster, there's some kind of formulated feeds.
Formulated feed. Yeah.
So take us through the feeding. So what do you feed the snails?
So first of all, in feeding, we usually feed them. First of all, we have the vegetables. So the snail can eat up to 5 different types of plants. So whether be it the skuma wiki, we have cabbages, lettuces, we have potatoes, and also you can feed your snails the fruits, except the acidic ones like lemons, oranges, and pineapples. But all the other fruits, even the peels, you can feed the snails. And also we have the kitchen remains. But for the kitchen remains, what you will do, you will have to rinse a bit because of the salt. Yeah.
How do snails reproduce? How do you increase your stock?
So first of all, snails are hermaphrodites. This is another advantage of snails. There's no specific male or female, but they usually alternate with seasons. So they lay up to 5 clutches in a year, and per clutch, an individual snail can lay up to 200 eggs. So this means that they really reproduce very fast. Then after laying, the eggs takes up to 21 days to hatch. Then from there, you can maybe transfer your young snails to a hatchery, or maybe leave them in the pens to continue growing. Yeah.
So that means in 1 year you can 200 times your colony.
Yeah.
Is there a market for snails in Kenya?
Yeah, the market is there. You know, before this is a question that most of the Kenyans usually ask about the market. Even most of the time when we train or we engage people in this is the most question that people ask. The demand is there, and even currently we ain't meeting the demand, and that's why we are encouraging other people to venture into such a practice, because currently what we are doing to tackle this problem is by training other farmers. After training them, we enable them to start their own farms. Then thereafter, because the demand is too high, we still can't meet the demand for the snails. So demand is there. As I mentioned, we have our customers, but mostly are not Kenyans, but we have expatriates here in Kenya who consume
Is
snails.
it mostly West African? You said West Africans and Asians?
Yeah, we have West Africans and Asians, yeah. But also we have a bit of Kenyans who usually consume snails.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the advantages of snail farming compared to other types of farming, for example, poultry? What are the advantages? Why should somebody consider snail farming or not?
First of all, snail farming is not capital intense. You do not require like a lot of capital. Then for the spacing, it does not require a lot of space. And also in feeding with poultry, like right now we have
The cost of feeds?
The cost of feeds is very high for the poultry. So this one is another advantage, because with the snails, they are readily available feeds that you can find and feed your snails with. Yeah.
How much do you sell 1 kg of snail meat?
So a kg goes at, for the meat, goes at 2,500.
That's 2,500.
2,500.
How much does it cost you to produce that 1 kg of?
So in producing a kg, we'll use around 500 shillings, maybe to transport, and maybe for the labor. For the someone, we have employees who usually go and collect the veggies. So mostly it's just for the transportation and labor for the person
taking care of the snails.
Taking care of the snails, yeah.
So, which means the margins are very good. They are very minimal.
Yeah,
they are very minimal inputs.
Yeah, very minimal inputs for snail farming. Yeah.
What challenges or problems can somebody encounter when they start snail farming? What are the common challenges that they can encounter?
Most of the challenges that farmers usually go through, first of all, in reproduction, because for a snail to lay eggs, there has to be the right condition, that because for the snails they prefer a moist environment. So maybe in the dry season, someone has to maybe sprinkle a bit of water. So the knowledge is also important before you start the skills. You need to have the skills. Again, we have the soil. They usually lay their eggs inside the soil, and there is the best soil for doing this. We usually we usually advise for someone to do snail farming with loam soil. That one is usually, but for the clay soil is a bit tricky. So sometimes you might find a farmer might be complaining about the reproduction, and also the feeding part. The calcium content has to be a bit high, because without calcium your snails won't be reproducing, and that's
How
why
do you provide calcium to your snails?
so we usually formulate animal feed. We usually formulate the feeds. Apart from the vegetables and the fruits and the kitchen remains, there's a feed that we usually formulate that usually helps the snails with gaining weight.
What about predators? Are there predators that can affect your snail?
Yes, we
your
have
snail stock.
Yes, we have so many predators. First of all, we have the rats, we have lizards, and also maybe ants, and also snakes. We have specific birds that do not, and that's why before you venture into such, you need to like have a condition, a friendly condition that you.
So is that the reason why you have the shade nets?
Yeah, and the reason why we have
and the people on the ground as well.
Yeah.
What do the termites attack?
The termites usually attack the snails.
The snail itself,
both the snails and the eggs.
Oh, okay.
So like for the wooden pens, you know, with the termites and the wood, you know,
they're going to attack the structure itself.
So they will start with the, first of all start with the structure and then move on to the snail. So they are also predators to the. First of all, we have different structures. We have different types of snaileries. Some prefer the net houses and some prefer the wooden pens. But both these structures have advantages and disadvantages. So like for the wooden pens, as you can see, we have some nets. These nets usually helps prevent the predators like the lizards and the rats. So the advantages of a wooden pen is that it is portable, something that you can move from one place to the another one. That is another advantage. And one of the disadvantages is that because the snail prefer a moist environment, most of the time, maybe in the dry season, someone will be advised to sprinkle a bit of water. So with the water, the wood won't be that sustainable. So maybe in 1.5 years, someone has to maybe replace the wooden pen, or and also we have net houses, but for the net houses, advantage is that it does not require a lot of time, and also it is very sustainable, because most of the time before you introduce your snails into the snailery, you are advised to maybe plant some plants.
Talk to us about the training for somebody who wants to start.
Okay, so what we do, we usually offer trainings. We have online trainings and in person. So when people come, we usually engage them with theory. Theory is very important, because before you start the snail farming practically, you must start maybe with theory. We start with theory. We show them from step to step how they should start or venture into such a business. Then from there we take them through practical. In the practical process, we show them how to cook the snails, how to extract the snail from the shells, and also how to harvest the slime. And also we have a training that we usually train on the value addition, slime value addition. This now comes with the beauty products, on maybe making the beauty products from the slime. The snail meat has a lot of benefits. First of all, it is a good source of protein, and the protein content is the same as beef and pork, but for the snails, another thing, it comes with a lower fat content. That's why people with problems like high blood pressure are advised to consume snails. Also, we have the omega-3. Omega-3 is also another crucial vitamin that usually found in snails. Another thing is the iron content is very high, and also we have vitamin A and other minerals that are found in snail meat.
So does that mean that the calorie count is low?
Yeah, so also the calorie count is very low, because the snail meat comes with a lower fat content. Yeah.
So talk us through the process of preparing a snail.
So when preparing a snail delicacy, first of all, you'll harvest your snails. And remember, when harvesting, an individual has to weigh 140 grams and above. So first of all, you'll harvest your snails, wash the snails gently. So we have different ways of extracting the snails from the shell. So some use the traditional way of crushing the shells. Inside the shell, we have intestines attached to the shell. So some people use the traditional ways, but for us, we don't encourage that. What we do, we usually boil water for around 15 minutes. So after boiling water, we wash our snails, then dip the snails inside the hot water. So after dipping the snails, you will have to leave the snails inside the water for around 5 minutes. Then thereafter, the intestines will get loose from the shell. So the snail will fall off. So the next process is to separate the snail meat from the shell. So another thing is that the intestines are also they're also feeds. If you might have a fish pond, you can feed your fish the intestines. So after that, the next process is washing the snails. So what we usually use some lemon and salt. So the lemon or vinegar, if you might have vinegar. So this one usually helps with reducing or getting rid of the slime. From there, you can maybe shallow fry or deep fry. There's a lot of ways that people usually prepare snails. Others marinate or, yeah.
Okay.